Okay, so I want to do a video where I basically have a rant about all of the misinformation there are from people trying to sell you respirators who almost don't know much about how a respirator works. But that's okay, they're going to scaremonger you instead to make you think that you need to spend $400 or something on a respirator to actually get one that works. So, the reason I'm mentioning this and showing the Israeli 4A1 is Israeli 4A1's a very good mask. They were made by Israel for ages for actually protecting civilians against chemical warfare, biological warfare, you know, things like that. The mask has to work because they built it. Yeah, it's a bit cheap and simple, but it will actually do the job of saving your life if you had it on with a working filter. But you know, according to a lot of these sites, this mask isn't good enough. No, you need to spend a lot more money to get a working mask. Right, so... Okay, so one of the main misconceptions I see is that you need to spend absolutely loads of money on a respirator for it to work. Now that is absolute crap. Now, as I've said before in lots of these videos, respirators are really simple things. What you have, let's just show you. So the filter, which filters the gas, that's an important bit we'll come back to. You've got your intake valve. Air can only come through this bit, therefore you filter it, because with the filter attached, air is sucked through the filter, cleaned, and then the clean air goes into the mask. Then you have your exhale valve, and the exhale valve is obviously designed so when you breathe out, air flows out of the mask through the exhale valve. Obviously you have some plastic lenses, glass lenses, whatever, so you can see out of it and your eyes are protected, and that's basically it. Now you can obviously get a lot more complicated than that. You can have oral nasal cups in it, good peripheral seals, different strap systems, voice diaphragms, drinking tubes, all that stuff, all that jazz. And this does have a voice diaphragm and a drinking tube on, and an oral nasal cup, so I guess that's quite good for a cheap mask, isn't it? But regardless, the point I am making is that if you bought a mask like the 4A1 for £20, £30, $20, $30, whatever, you were issued it by the Israeli government if you're an Israeli citizen, this mask would save your life with a working filter on it. But no, it doesn't cost $400, $500. Better buy this stupid expensive mask, you know, to actually save you. And that's not to say those stupid expensive masks wouldn't save your life. Of course they would if, you know, the mask was working and had a working filter on. But it offers no more protection capability than something like this. Now, that might not be strictly true. I think some masks are better suited to last longer against blister agents and things like that, but you know, that's quite a minor point in the grand scheme of things. Now, a mask like this was made in one size fits all, so you get your straps, obviously, put the mask on, just straighten it out, do the straps up evenly. Right, that's pretty secure there. Let's do these two straps up. Oh look, I've got the mask on. It pressurises, I'm completely protected from inhaling gas or getting gas in my eyes. But no, this isn't good enough apparently. No, because, you know, I didn't spend much on it. So, you'll obviously know I've ranted loads of times about, you know, people saying if it's surplus it doesn't work. But it goes a bit further than that, because I've seen people now saying, oh, certain masks have to be CBRN rated from a certain company to say they work. So basically it's like we sent our masks off, we sell to a company to say yeah they work, so therefore anything that's not rated by us doesn't work. Now if you want to know how cheaply you can get a working mask, you get your Soviet GP5 respirator, as long as it's still airtight and working, for like $10. You stick a Polish FP5 filter on it that's still sealed and in date and works. Wow, for $20 you have a mask that will save your life. Wow, you know, it's not that hard. GP5 is going to be relatively uncomfortable and claustrophobic and very basic compared to a lot of masks, but the important thing is it saves your life, right? So, the thing that I really hate is lots of these sites, they go on about how you need to spend loads and loads of money on a mask to protect you, and then they don't mention filters. Or they'll sell you filters, and yeah, they say you sell you filters that work, but they don't explain how filters work. Or they don't sell you chemical detection kits, right? So, or, you know, like actual other types of chemical detection kits. I don't have any myself, because I think if I end up being exposed to a gas that's horrible enough that you can't, you know it's coming in advance and all that, you know, you might as well get killed by it. But the point is that if you are going to spend all this money on the mask, then you need obviously lots of working filters. Lots of these places go on and on and on about getting a really expensive mask but don't mention good filters. Then they don't mention early detection systems for gas. So obviously if there's a nerve gas attack and you've bought your really expensive fancy mask, you're dead because you don't have a chemical detector, you don't have to put your mask on, oh, too late, you're dead. And a bit like that, there's this massive problem where they also don't mention NBC suits on a lot of these things. So again, if you're exposed to something really nasty like blister agent or nerve gas, you're either going to die through skin contact or be permanently scarred through skin contact. But no mention of NBC suits because we don't sell them. No, buy our $400 masks, please. Right, here's what you could do if you really wanted to actually protect yourself at a reasonable price, and this is what I've said a few times, but bear with me, is if you want to buy an NBC suit, fine, you can buy an old rubberized NBC suit or a DuPont Taichem suit that's, you know, new old spec kind of thing for, you know, like $20 again, $10 to $20, $30, not very much. You get your mask for another, you know, $10 to $20, so let's say that's at $50 so far. If you've got $50 left to spend that money on filters, just get a load of ABEC P3 filters or in-date CBRN filters, whatever. Oh look, you've now got enough filters and an NBC suit and everything else to protect yourself with in case you actually need the stuff. But that's not how these sites operate, is it? It's scaremongering. What they want to do is tell you, oh no, that cheap mask you've got, even though it's perfectly functional, isn't functional. Buy our one. Yeah, buy our $500 mask. Let's charge you a stupid amount for filters if we sell filters as well. And, you know, it's just disgusting. It's kind of like if a company was to sell you, I don't know, let's just say a food company, right? And they stock certain kinds of food in, and they said, if you eat anybody else's food, you get food poisoning or some bollocks like that. I know that's a crap point, but the point I'm really getting to is it really does annoy me that you see all these companies shilling really expensive masks, and generally, the more expensive the mask, it might have some nicer features, as I said, like drinking tubes and everything like that, but, oh look, this mask has that, and it's cheap, and it's mass-produced for civilians in Israel. Oh, yeah. So yeah, there's always that. And by the logic of the amount of money you spend on a mask should make it good. Let's look at the masks I've spent the most money on. Right, the most money I've spent on a mask was probably my XM28 Grasshopper, because it's quite rare and hard to get in Britain. So yeah, I spent about 100 quid on that, but that's rare. So let's ignore that one, shall we? Okay, I spent around 70 or 80 quid on my GSR when I got that new, right, with spare filters. I really hate the GSR, it's a crap mask. But according to the amount of money I spend on it, it's a better mask. Now, I'd rather have a GP5 in all honesty than the GSR on, or a GP5M or an SHMS, with an FP5 filter on, you know, working, because I'd actually trust the Soviet mask that's very basic to work, not something that's super glued together by a company that now was bought out and defunct, that made it for the lowest bidding price possible to compete with the Avon M50. You know, it's all that. There's lots of masks I can think of that, you know, are shilled as these great expensive masks, and they're actually kind of fundamentally flawed because they try too hard to do new and inventive things when a mask is just needed to protect yourself. As a civilian, you don't need all these fancy features. Because I collect masks, yeah, I've got a massive respirator collection, you know, 70 odd something masks now. That's beside the point. If I wanted to buy a mask to protect myself from, I'd have a lot of knowledge to just go, yep, this mask is good, good price point, lots of good features on it, it's known to be reliable and work, buy that. You know, there's even some people that will literally go so far as to say Israeli civilian masks are bad and Israeli military masks are bad, because apparently Israel, even though they're under threat of actually being attacked with chemical weapons, makes masks that are useless for both its soldiers and civilians. So, that's my rant out the way with. I'm sure you will all know the sort of sites I'm talking about, but I see more and more pop up like this, where we want to sell a mask, we've got very expensive masks in stock, we're making a massive margin on these things, but let's tell everybody else's masks are crap and don't work. What a load of bollocks.